welcome to the Buckeye Senior Center. We are going to do a painting project with you today. So we're going to paint the sunflowers. Basic supplies that you're going to need are a 12 by 16 wrapped canvas. A wrapped canvas is basically a canvas that has a wood frame. The canvas is wrapped around and stapled in the back. Most of them are already pre-gessoed or pre-primed for you, so you don't need to do that. The other supplies you'll need are some acrylic paints you can pick up at any craft store. For this painting I used a 1-inch brush, flat brush, and a 1/2-inch flat brush. I did the whole painting with those two brushes. If you want to get any finer details, you can use a liner brush in the sunflowers if you like, but you don't need to. Piece of chalk to sketch out the sunflower, some water, paper towels, and let's get started. So I've already sketched out the one sunflower on this canvas. I used the solo cup. You can use any size cup that you want depending on how big you want the center of your sunflower to be. If you want a bigger center, just use something else round, bigger, or you can freehand it. So down here. So some of these petals are going to overlap. This picture may not come out exactly as that picture, but that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and sketch in the petals of the flower, and keep in mind that the petals of a sunflower are wide at the base, and they kind of curve out, and then they come into somewhat of a point. Don't get all caught up on making them all symmetrical and perfect, because they never are in nature, so just have fun with it and get to sketching. Pull that out. This one is going to overlap the sunflower behind. Between the paints that they use, some people see the paints that are in tubes that are very a little more expensive. They are more expensive because they have more pigment in them, and the paint goes a little further, so you don't need to use as much paint as you do with these paints. But these acrylic paints that we're using today. But if you're just starting out, all the petals until they're filled in. We're going to add all the details later, all the shading. If you think you made your circle too big, you can pull that petal down into the circle a little bit more to make it smaller. It's up to you. Go ahead and turn that. It's okay if you get a little bit of the blue and it mixes in to make some green. That's part of the beauty of these flowers. They have all different colors in them. And then we are going to be going over with different shades of yellows and oranges and even a little bit of white. One thing you can do too, on the back of your canvas, on the wood part, you can place the date and the year if you want, so you can remember when you did this. So make sure you do it on the wooden part of the frame. If you do it on the canvas part, it might just bleed through and you can see it. Done with this flower up front. The nice thing about this painting too is you can flip it upside down too, so it can hang either way. So you can have a big flower on the bottom. We're going to block in this sunflower down here in the bottom corner. And working with acrylic paints is a lot different than working with oil paints, because you don't have a whole lot of time when you're blending, because it does dry quickly. So if you're someone that is used to working with oil paints, it can get a little more frustrating. And right now it just looks like a big yellow mess, but we're going to go ahead and outline a lot of these petals with that orange. Okay, so I'm going to paint up the sides here. And the center part is going to be all brown, so we're going to leave that. Make sure I got the edges here. I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush out, and we're going to touch up the blue paint again. So it looks like it's pretty dry. There's some wet spots here. You can see when it's wet, when it's shiny. But we'll go ahead and brush to get in these little areas here. And I'm gonna add a little bit of darker blue also because that will give it a little bit of depth because it's inside the flower, so it's a little darker. So I just mixed it right on the brush. I just pulled some of that lighter blue and then just dabbed it into the dark blue. And I'm just gonna let it mix right on the canvas. So I'm just gonna pull that right in. I'm just gonna pull it through. Go ahead and add a little more light blue, but sometimes having the variations of colors just kind of gives it a nice look. Same technique, kind of twisting that brush to work on that chiseled edge. Depth by adding some dark. Mixed with the yellow, made a little bit of a green, but that's okay. I'm just using a light touch to pull that blue and kind of push that into the canvas there. Kind of work that paint around. You want to go ahead and take a little bit of on your 1-inch brush, take a little bit of that blue, that dark blue right on the corner, and then load it up with some of that lighter blue. You're gonna see a nice blend. How that works out like that. You push down to blend those colors. And you can just blend right on the canvas too. Put that dark part in towards the flower and then just pull it out. Just working that paint into the canvas. So it looks like the paint's starting to, so you don't have those little brush strokes. Can't make a mistake with this, really. Keep working that paint till all of that's blended in nice. Get this here. Hit the top of your canvas. Color that is called burnt orange. So I'm going to go ahead, actually, I'm going to switch to my 1/2-inch brush. And we're going to go ahead and start working on this part of the flower. We're going to start pulling some petals forward and pushing some petals back into the background, okay? So we're going to do that. A little bit of this burnt orange on the 1/2-inch brush, and I'm going to mix a little bit of this King's Gold and kind of push just a little bit of blue, which is okay. Push it into the paper towel to release some water. Sometimes there's water on your brush still that you don't realize. So we're going to start, and I'm just going to outline some of these petals, okay? So using the flat side of the brush, and you can use your pinky to steady your hand too. I'm just going to go to the outside and just a light. And then you're going to just kind of imagine where that would be. And then you're also going to use the chiseled edge of that brush just to give it a nice thin line. Okay. So this petal is behind, so I'm just going to stop there. I'm going to bring this petal forward. I'm just going to pull that forward like so. And you can start pulling some colors from the center of the sunflower towards the tip. And you can blend in your yellows and just kind of give it all different colors. Just let it blend on the canvas because it really does make some really pretty colors. From the center of the flower towards the tip. Blending it till you get a look you like. If you want to keep it all just a solid color, you can, but here's one back here. Now remember, this flower petal is going to come on top of this one, so we're only going to bring in just a little indication of a petal back there, and then I'm going to bring this one here. It's going to come up and cross over. So we're going to look on another petal that's behind. Bring this one forward. Bring those colors towards the tip. Here. It doesn't matter if your centerpiece if your center flower strokes go into the center part, because you're going to be covering all that up with some brown, so it's going to be hidden. So you just want to keep and start working on the petals here. So this one comes to the foreground, so we're going to go all the way to the bottom. That one is in the back. Can we pause for 1 second? Good. Okay, so I went ahead and finished blocking in all the rest of the sunflower petals. So the same technique, kept blending the burnt orange with the different yellows and just pulling it towards the tip. So we're going to go ahead and work on the center parts. Again, we're going to do that in layers. We're just going to block it in with the brown. We'll come back and we'll add the light and the dark, and then we'll just throw in a little bit more of yellows and whites to brighten up the petals of the flower, and that will be it. Center of the sunflower, I'm using my 1.5-inch brush, and I'm going to be using it this way. So you're going to use the edge of the brush, and you're going to just tap it on. Be tapping it on, and where the center of the flower meets the petal, I'm just going to kind of flick it just gently to give it that little fuzzy look that sunflowers have, seed look. So using right now just plain brown, so I'm loading up the brush, making sure there's no water in there. And I'm going to be working in a circle formation. Okay, so I'm just going to tap down, just little tiny flicks. You know, you don't want them too big, wild and crazy. So just little tiny flicks. I'm just going to go ahead and do this all the way around until you have the whole center of both flowers filled up. The edge already pretty much done. You can go ahead and make bigger strokes, pulling that brown towards the center, out and pull it in both ways. So kind of scumble it in there, kind of zigzag it. It's going to give a nice little texture of like how seeds are on the center of a sunflower. So without actually painting each individual seed, just giving the illusion of the seed. I'm kind of even pushing, as I get closer to the center, kind of pushing down more on the brush to release more paint. Okay. So again, we're just blocking all this in because we're going to go over it with some layers. Alrighty, so that's the top one, and we'll go down here to the bottom. And just do our little black to tone it down. Change the hue. Okay, so we're going to let that dry just a little bit, because if we go back over it, it'll start pulling the paint off. And so what we can do in the meantime is just throw in a few more strokes on our sunflower petals. We can put some more yellow just to brighten it up. And just kind of pull some streaks. If you want that a little bit darker, you can just some more King's Gold. In the background, just a little bit darker. I am going to add a little bit of white to it also, just to brighten it up. I'll pull this away. And just kind of eyeball it, what you like. If you like it darker, if you want to keep that burnt orange in there, you can. If you want it lighter or all just yellow, whatever you like. Alrighty, so the brown is starting to dry. It's drying up. There are still some wet spots on there, but we're going to go ahead and start mixing a little bit of, I'm going to add a little bit of the black on there, just to darken it up. So I'm going to pull some brown out and just make a separate little pile, and just a little bit of black, not too much. Black is pretty strong. You can always keep adding more. And when you make your pile, don't get too wild and crazy and make a big wide pile, otherwise that paint starts drying out. So you want to keep it in a nice little puddle there. And just go around the edge. Same thing, just giving it some different color. You can see that a little bit. Maybe I'm going to add a little more black to it, just to make a distinction. Too much. And we're just going to make some little circles, but we're not going to fill the whole thing in. We're just going to make some like little rings around it, just to give it some indication of layers of seeds. For the center, I did use pretty much completely black. I just kind of dabbed it in there. So we'll go to the other flower down here, and we'll do the same thing. We'll just make some. Load up your brush again. And I'm going to add a little bit of black off my brush. Now I'm going to take some of that brown, and I'm going to add a little bit of the yellows. This yellow's got a little bit of green to it, which is nice. So I'm going to make a little bit of a lighter. And again, it's okay. We're just going to kind of stipple in some little strokes here in between the dark and the light. I'll add some more up here. Just giving some depth to the center of the flower. Some areas on the edge just to darken it up a bit. Just do it till you get the look that you like. Took it, not too much. Just took it back to the center, just very lightly, just some light little flicky marks here, just here and there. They're not really all together, they're kind of spaced out a little bit. So. Too much, just add some of those other colors if you want to tone it down. And it just blends on the canvas, making all sorts of neat colors. So, okay, so there's that one. We're going to go to this one, so we're going to use that lighter color that we had. And we're going to go above that, in between the regular brown and that little black line. You can add some more brown if you want to. And those rings together. Just let it blend. Yellow, the King's Gold, and a little bit of the brown. And then we just made some little, very light touch. Just a little tiny flicky stippling motion. Okay, so that's the center of the flower. We're going to go back and just throw a little bit of yellow and white onto the petals. But if you're happy with your flower the way it is now, then you can stop. After we throw a little bit of the white on, it is all done. So pull some of this yellow out and some of this white, pull it from the edge. And just kind of give a few highlights. here. And you're just about done. So again, if you want your flower to be darker, just you can omit the white. So there you go. There's your painting. Have fun with it. Use whatever colors you like and enjoy. Well, bye and thanks for joining us today. Bye-bye.